I'm old, but I was fortunate personal computers came out in the 80s when I was still young enough to learn about them, and I've been doing so ever since. But your parents or grandparents may not have been as lucky, and so maybe they're a little lost. So here's a not-so-little guide on how you can help protect them when they're using their desktops or their phones. Now, assuming that they have home internet and a Wi-Fi router, the first thing you want to do is make sure their phones are set up to automatically connect that so they're never using their data plan while at home. So let's swipe down to find our settings, and the first button is the blue button for the wireless symbol. So if we press and hold that, it'll jump right to the wireless settings page. So here we are. Now I'm already connected to my network, but they may have been set home with their new phones and without any instructions or a clue how to hook it up. So let's take a look at the second one down here, this Action Tech. And here's where you would put in the password and type it all in. Of course, you have to have their home networking password, probably get it from the back of their router. And you type it in here. One of the first things you want to do is make sure that the auto reconnect is always on so that when they leave and come back, it automatically will connect to their network. So let me type in some stuff here. I'll just type in any old characters in. And then, of course, there's the unhide button up there. And we just type in whatever the password is for that router for their house. So I'm not going to connect here. But one thing you might want to also do is if they have someplace like a favorite restaurant, they're showing people pictures and videos and stuff, or looking on Facebook. Now that's going to be a bit of a challenge. You'll probably actually have to visit the place and find out what their network name is, and of course the password. And also make sure that the auto reconnect is still on. So the next time they visit there and they're showing their friends something, it doesn't use up all their bandwidth. I had my mother-in-law show somebody a 254 megabyte video that I had created for them. It was about their 50th wedding anniversary, but she didn't realize it was on OneDrive. So once you've grilled them about their habits and where they go and all that, what they do, you can set up all their networks. So now that we have them hooked up to their home network, what happens if they exceed their data limits anyways? Well, let's set it up so they can't. So we swipe down again, but this time we're going to go use the gear in the upper right-hand corner here. We're going to click on that to get to the settings screen. And we're going to go to here where it says Connections, the top one. And click on that, and you'll see if you scroll down in here, you'll see down lower, it has a data usage area. So we're going to click on that to take a look how we can set it up. Now mine's already set up. My wife and I are home most of the time, so we use a lot of the home Wi-Fi. We only have a 2 gigabyte data plan. And we only use half of that every month. So at least until you figure out how much data they have and if they're going to go over it, we're going to turn on the Alert Me About Data Usage. There'll be a pop-up that says that they're going over their data limit. So how does it get alerts? Well, you have to set the start and end date of your bill. So we go down here to where we click on the date, and you see I have mine August 21st to September 20th, so that's my 30 days. You simply click on the dates to get the drop down on the little arrow next to them, and you'll be able to enter a date range. And just go look at your bill, what day your billing cycle starts. And you click on that to go ahead and do that. Now there's data warnings here as well. So let's turn it on here. So then we get a ability to go into the data warning limits to set the limit. So if we click on that and we simply put in here whatever the plan is, 2 gigabytes a month, whatever. Megabytes aren't really relative anymore probably, but you just type in here how many megabytes or gigabytes per month. So if you're really paranoid about it, you can actually turn off the data automatically. So once it gets its limit, it'll cut you off or cut them off. I should go back and mention that when you're on this page, you need to set the limit for the entire plan, but you need to divide it by the number of phones. If there's 2 phones, each person gets a half, or whatever the limits they've decided upon. 4 phones and whatever. So once you have the limits all done, you just click on OK and you're good. Now as an overview, when you get back out of this, you should go back to the summary page and take a look at it to make sure it matches what you thought you put in. Dealing with email spam or things you subscribe to is hard enough for the rest of us, but for an older person it can be especially challenging since there's so many different ways of unsubscribing. Now I'm going to show you a couple of these. Now you probably already know these, but in teaching them to an elder user is a little difficult. But here's one where the subscribe is buried in the bottom of the email. Most of them are like that, fine print at the very end. Another type of email you might get is from a program that you're enrolled in. Here's one from Microsoft Insiders, and the only way you can get out of it is by quitting the Insider program. Now this might be the same for a service that you subscribe to. Getting emails is an essential part of that program. Here's yet another one from Marvel that I joined, and there's an unsubscribe link here that says update preferences at the bottom, which will take you to their website where you will unenroll there. Well, now that they've been bought by Disney, you get to the Disney email preferences, and this one you actually have to type in your email. So you can show the person you're helping how to do this, but different methods come up every day. Different sites do things differently. Well, here's a little service that may help. So I'm showing this on my Android as usual, and I got a program called Unroll Me, which you sign up for their service. Now all it is a program that, with your permission, examines your email for any subscribe and unsubscribe links. So what this does, it logs in using either your Gmail or Microsoft. I think it supports Yahoo as well, credentials. You go in here and you type in your stuff. And once you're in, you get started. And it has a little demo here in the beginning. And it has a nice little swipe left or right to decide what you're going to do with any particular email. So it found in my inbox, or it found 21 subscription emails. So let's take a look at what it's going to do. It goes in here and says, okay, here's one from Civic. I own a Civic. I signed up for a forum. So using one of the three buttons below, I press keep, and it goes on to the next one, Duolingo. And I say, oh, I want to keep that. Oh, my Duolingo's Swedish. I want to keep that. Oh, and then what's next? Oh, my Bed Bath & Beyond coupon. Don't want to forget that. So at the end, you end up with this total that's saying how many you unsubscribed from and how many you kept. So what if you have more than one account? What do you do then? Well, you go up there to settings, and then you'll see here, gives you a list of your account. You click on the settings bar there. At the bottom, you'll see add another account. And all you have to do is simply click on that. And you go back to the account screen, and there it is for all the different services. And I clicked on Google. Now I'm going through the Google authentication process, where I have to accept all the stuff for which account to use, because I have two accounts on Google, and decide which one I want to use for this particular instance. And of course, then you have to agree to all the stuff you normally would agree to, that this is all Google is telling you that this particular program is going to access your information. It's important to explain this to whoever you're installing this for, to make sure they understand they're being protected. No other companies getting their information that's being logged in through Gmail or in Outlook if you were doing that one. So I skipped the training and then went right to my inbox in Gmail and found one subscription. And so it wants to review that. And this is one from my YouTube because it notifies me when somebody comments on one of these videos. So there you have it. A program makes it a lot easier than scanning this list of all your emails, finding each one with subscription, find out how to unsubscribe. Now, it doesn't really protect them, but it does stop a lot of those crazy offers coming in, offering various services for little or no cost to them. There's really a ton of robocall blocking apps in the Google Play Store. One of the highly rated ones is the Should I Answer. Now, working with this, it's just like any other calling program that does this kind of thing. You make your calls through it, and it monitors the phone numbers going out and coming in. And it adds them to their database, and if it sees a call coming in that's in their database as a robocall, it will take action based on what you decided to do during your setup. Now, this is the free service, but they'll attempt to sell you their paid services. I'm not sure what the protection here, I would use no protection at all, for example, but I'm going to go ahead and install the active protection. And all you got to do is set that as a default in your phone. So it doesn't even do it for you like some do. You have to actually go into the system settings, go here to calling app where it says phone, which is the one that does your calling, and just change it to Should I Answer. So now that it's set up, all I'll do is back out and boom, there I am. I'm there at the app. It says Start Your App. And here it is. Here's a history of all my stuff, showing the number of calls with the little arrows, whether it's an inbound or outbound. The green arrows mean I made the outbound call. Regular phone connection means I made a connection. And look at that. I got a telemarketer already identified from their database. And if I click on some of these, I can make a decision. Now, I made an outgoing call. I know who this was. It was my car repair place or whatever. So I can mark that. I can say it's safe. And then I can press and hold on a call that let's say I made out or somebody coming in. I can press and hold on that entry, and it comes up with a menu that says copy a call, send a mess, delete, all these different options there. Well, let's do another one. Press and hold here. It shows rejected, and that means that when they called, I didn't recognize it. I just hung up on it. And so I can go ahead and decide that it's spam if I want. Or maybe I got called back later on or whatever. I found out what number it was, and it's okay. So you're not surprised. They replace your standard background with their own background when you make a call. So you'll see something like this. Okay, social media. Well, Facebook is the gorilla in the room, and it is huge as far as the number of settings you have to check. Maybe thanks to the government, I'm not sure, but we're going here and trying to cover most of them, but you really need to use their privacy review to do it. So if you click on a little hamburger menu, will drop down at the top right, you'll go to the page with all the settings. And first we're going to scroll down till we get down to settings, not just below privacy and settings. This is your account settings. So once we get there, we're going to scroll down till we see security. Go a little bit further down. There's privacy. There's privacy settings. So we're going to tap on that to get into the details of privacy. The first thing you should see at the list is check a few important things. And it's going to walk you through a privacy checkup, which is great. Now the first thing is the post, the just general audience. Once you click on the next page, you go down to future posts. Anything you post in the future, who can see it? By the way, if you click on the see more at the bottom, you see there's a couple other options available. The next thing it's going to check is your profile, and you make sure that each of these is going to be seen by only by certain people. For example, some people don't want their birthday done or where they came from. Those can be individually controlled here. Again, you don't have to save, you just go back and you go to the next step. Now, I don't have apps. A lot of people do have. They've signed in to other applications or websites using their Facebook account. You go in here and you do the same thing you did for other stuff. Is you go in here and say yes or no or friends or whoever can see your activity on that particular app. And then you're done. So you just close that. Now once you're done and back to the privacy settings, you see your activity can be broken up into future and past posts. So we click on future, you'll see that any new post can be controlled independently here by just clicking on whichever option you want to enable. Going back again and then clicking on past posts, you can do the same thing. I don't have it turned on here, but you can do the same thing for any previous posts. So we back up the menu again and we go down to the following configuration. So we click on who can see the people, pages, and lists you follow. Right now it's set for friends. It's the same exact interface, and you choose who can see the people that you follow. So who can watch your activity following other people. And we back up one more time at least, and we go down to stories, which is every time there's a new feature, they have to have configuration for that. There's one here for stories that only those people can watch those stories that you create. Now that's all about who can follow, you can see your activity and all that. But what we're going to look at now is we're going to say who can be on your friends list, who can find you during searches and stuff. So the first thing we're going to do is who can send you friend requests. Now friends aren't listed here because they're already your friends. So only friends are friends for everyone. Best is do it for everyone, but we're going to show you how you can limit that as well. So if you skip down to where who can look you up using the email you provided, if you click on that, then only the people who have your email address can find you on Facebook. To explain this a little bit better, let's say you have your email address blocked from anybody on Facebook, but your friend knows it. Well, they can just type that in really quick rather than having to go to their friends list and all that. They can just do a search using that email address and they'll find your profile. Same process is for phone number. If they know your phone number, they can look it up using that. Again, it should be locked down to friends. Now, one of the things you should check is the search engine. So if you click at the bottom, you'll see it says let search engines outside of Facebook link to your profile. So if you've ever done a search and you found yourself on Google, your Facebook page, that's why. So you should shut that off. Because I'm guessing there's no reason for your parents to be listed out there. Now, notification settings are a little more security, and not that people can't see stuff, but they're not going to get this inrush of notifications which they don't understand what they're getting from, maybe from marketers, maybe from friends, maybe from whatever. But be very selective of which ones here that you let them see, let them get notifications so they don't have pop-ups all the time. Now I'm going to skip down here to media and contacts Because, you know, you're on Facebook, something pops up and it starts playing the video. Well, right here, if you tap on Media and Contacts, you notice it says Videos and News Feeds Start with Sound. So let's remove that distraction for them by turning that one off. So there's more settings in here you might want to check. But most of the time, we're just trying to prevent them from getting distractions, exposing data that they shouldn't do, all those things that make it very easy or easier for them to use Facebook in a fairly secure manner. So that's Facebook, and there's other social media apps. I tell you what, I'll cover Instagram. Now, switching over to Instagram, on the account privacy screen, I want to show them about privacy here and help them select the correct one. Again, they'll never need to go back in this as long as you ask them the questions and set up the way they want to do it. Not only do you want to go ahead and set up their sharing stuff, but you also want to maybe set up what notifications they get. You can do that on the phone, but you can also do it right here in the app. You probably want to ask them each one of these categories and what they do or do not want to get. You don't have to go into excruciating detail in each one of these settings because, believe me, they're going to get a little bit of overload with all this stuff. So you may also, by the way, want to do this in separate sessions. But the main thing you want to show them is how a private account works so that only friends or whatever can see it rather than the entire world. Now again, switching back to a phone so you can see what we're doing here on a phone. We're going to go in here. I created this account just to do a demo where they can go in and edit their profile, choose close friends, do all those things that they do. Again, show it to them so that they can understand how to use it. As you know, Instagram has a lot less personal information than what Facebook has, so just go in here, show them how to get some friends, and then edit their profile information. One of the great things about today's technology is it allows parents and grandparents to stay in touch with family members, especially those grandkids. So if you set up your parents with the ability to talk to your kids, you may want to make sure that it's set to be secure from other people trying to contact them. Now I'm going to use Skype to check these settings, but you can use these techniques or these settings in whatever video conferencing app they're using. One more thing to note is that if you're doing this on their phone in Skype, the changes in security will also affect the desktop application as well, so you don't have to worry about doing it in both places. So when you open up Skype on your Android, you should see this. At the top, you should see your picture, and you just click on that to get to your profile. At the bottom of that, you should see Settings, is where we're going to go next. The first thing we're going to be concerned with is the one that says Calling, about halfway down the page. Now on this page, there's two things we're going to worry about. It's answer incoming calls automatically. We don't want that on, so I make sure that's off. And the other one is down there when we want to say only allow Skype calls from contacts to ring on this device. So they only get calls from people they know. So now let's go ahead and back out of our call settings. We're going to go down to notifications. And here there's a long list, 30 or so different ones. And you're going to have to go into each one of these. Most of these, though, is how they get notified, like does it ring or make a sound. So browse through this list and choose the settings that both you and they agree on. So we back up to this menu again, and then we go down to notifications. And up here, we want to look at the privacy link here. So when we get in here, we look at a couple things. There's an email setting here and it says people can always reach you if they know your email address. Okay, that's fine. You go down here to appear in search results. You want to make sure that's off. With that off, only the people that are in Skype, that are in your contacts, will be able to search for you on Skype. So that's the settings for the mobile version of Skype. I do want to talk about the desktop for a second. First, as I mentioned earlier, all the same settings you saw on the mobile are here on the desktop. So whether you're using whatever phone, you can use the desktop to make your configurations. But here's Skype while it's running. I went to the taskbar to click on the icons, and it shows that Skype is running. It's in memory. And that's fine if they want to keep it running to accept calls from the kids or whatever. But to be a little more secure, let's unload Skype from memory or so it's not actively running in the background. So instead of clicking on the icon, if we right-click on it, you'll see at the bottom down there, it has Close Skype. So we click on that to close. Now this use of the taskbar may be a little confusing. So the better idea is to teach them to use the settings menu up top and use the sign out button there rather than using the X in the top right corner just to close the app. So that's basic video conferencing. Now, there are numerous ways for them to get into trouble. There's many other things to look out for. Too many to cover really in detail on one video. But there's some other categories you need to be looking at. Could be games, it could be just informational apps, different kind of apps that want them to spend their money. There's autopay. If they dabbled in autopay and got that set up, they can get a lot of trouble with that as well. You should check that. There's also online storage limits, which providers will charge extra for extra storage, especially if they store a lot of photos and stuff like that online. So do your loved ones and yourself a favor by taking a look at their systems, explaining things to them, tuning up stuff, shutting certain features off, so they can have a great experience using their smartphone. Hey, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like this video. And if you want to get more, just subscribe to Old Guy Geek. You can also follow me at Facebook or Twitter. The links to those are in the description of this video.